amongst all these feelings of grace, sadness, happiness, all of the above, ultimately, we as Muslims have a purpose in this life, and we have another life that we are working towards in Jannah, inshallah. And so I suppose, like, has being in quarantine or isolating affected anyone's relationship with Allah, or given them a different perspective on their growth in that aspect? I'm gonna get to the core of the apple here, because that's probably, for me, that's probably one of the most important things, I think, or it's been the biggest aspect for me anyway.
I guess maybe I can like build up on the last statement I did, is that like through the pandemic, someone took off the headphones of me. Like there was no noise anymore. I've seen after that everything in the natural thing, and I've heard everything in the natural way. Like myself, what I need, what I am, what I need, what I want to be, and so on. Everything. There was no distraction anymore, and also the helping hands disappeared. Like, for example, you would usually go to the mosque on some days, some special nights, and pray there. But sometimes you didn't have access to the mosque even. So you were really alone with yourself, or let's say with your family. So you needed to proactively do something to get something. Like no one was pushing you. You needed to push yourself. And I think at some time in the pandemic, I felt very empty when it comes to my faith, because someone took away something, you know? I was like, okay, there's missing something, and how am I going to like fill this gap? And I think like there I really realized how important for my self-improvement, for myself remaining in this world, how important it is to daily do my prayers, how to daily read the Quran, how to really do daily things for my faith to remain, because there was no noise, there was nothing helping me. I need to do something. And like it was a good experience, I guess, because I wouldn't see that gap if nobody would like took off these headphones of me and took off the helping hands around me. And I guess, yeah, that's my point, I guess.
I think I completely like empathize with that, because I was very similar in the sense that it was like, to be honest, like I needed this year. Like I needed to be in lockdown, because my relationship with Allah, I feel like, has improved this year, because as you've mentioned, the noise is gone. So it's like it's no longer the struggle of having to pray out. Like there's no excuse. Like you have your where you sleep and where you work, for me at least, is all here. And there's like no excuse. Like you don't have to run around trying to find somewhere to pray or do, you know. But like the salah is like the minimum, obviously, and then it's also implementing daily habits to keep up with reading or learning, or because obviously you can't go to lectures, or everything's online. So I think, yeah, I completely empathize with a lot of the things that you said there. What does everyone else feel?
I mean, it's subhanallah privilege when Burak speaks, and I recognize myself in what you say, Maria, because my office is actually located in a mosque. So I'm there almost every day. I've had the privilege of being in a place of worship when no one has access to it, and walking through those same halls that used to be filled with laughing screams of children and ammus speaking to each other while pouring tea, and you had the khaltus that just filled the space with tayba, with sort of how do you say it in English? Kind of an aura of goodness, and suddenly it's quiet. All you hear is the sound of the ventilation drum, and you're left with yourself. And that's where kind of filtered out everything that used to happen around oneself when one used to pray in congregation, when we used to read Quran in congregation. How many of us haven't read the Quran and maybe thought, oh, am I reading in an especially eloquent voice because people are around me? A lot of things that one used to struggle with in terms of, am I being hypocritical? Am I doing this for the right reason? Suddenly were filtered away, and you could just focus on 100% on the worship, never feeling that you're being hypocritical or having double standards. All of that being filtered out, and alhamdulillah, truly.
If I think I can jump onto what Burak said in terms of proactiveness. It would be difficult for me to give like a proper answer for the whole year, also because I haven't really stopped working and physically going to work. So work-wise, that hasn't changed anything for me. So in terms of everything you mentioned, like for prayer on time and everything, unfortunately, it's still kind of the same struggle for me on a daily basis. But I think one moment that was so very special for me was the month of Ramadan. Even though, of course, I think I was very sad to, not be around people. I really love going to Tarawih, and usually I don't manage to go a lot to Tarawih just because of the rhythm, to be honest. And it's always a big frustration for me because I just love it so much. But honestly, with the rhythm and work, I can't keep up going too much, so I kind of alternate. But still, when you physically go to Tarawih, you go there and you attend or take part into something that's already happening. Whereas now, or like this year, what we had to do is to organize our own Tarawih. So you're not attending Tarawih, you're doing your own one. And I really felt like it was a privilege to have that time with my father, like literally our own little Tarawih at home. It was like our own little project, like today we're reading this, next day we're reading this, taking a bit of time together to, read over the ayahs together again. And I felt like that was a big privilege, even though at the same time I was missing the whole vibe and everything, but this was so special. This was really like our little project. Like we had a plan together. It was this, that day, etc., and it felt like a real accomplishment towards the end of the month. So that was very special, and I think it really brought the aspect of in faith, it's not just taking part and following, but really having that proactivity. Like there's no Tarawih, you do your own Tarawih, that's it. You have to organize it. So that proactivity was very special to feel because it applies to so many other areas of faith.
I like you said the R word, the Ramadan word. I can't believe we went through Ramadan this year in the way that we did. Like I just how could I forget that? Like Ramadan and Eid, we could do a whole nother podcast on it, because I think that the memories from this year's Ramadan and Eid were so bittersweet. There's like so much to talk about. We don't have time for it. But one thing I do want to say, and I'm gonna, this is gonna be a point. The biggest thing I noticed during Ramadan is how the men got to experience how the women, like my mother particularly, got to experience Ramadan, because the men could not leave. Like they couldn't go pray Tarawih. All the mosques, the doors were closed, and like as I usually, it would be like I would sometimes go with Tarawih with my dad and my brother, because alhamdulillah I have a mosque that's very accommodating, has a good section for women, but a lot of the times I would feel guilty and I would stay back, because like why should my mum have to like clean whilst my brother and my dad go? But this time everybody was forced to stay under one roof and to do the same thing, and it was just, I felt like my mum had a better Ramadan because we were constantly here. And like I hope the people who enjoy Like it's particularly the men who enjoy having the beautiful socialism on another level, and like the prayer and the salah to the level they do in Ramadan really understand the place of the people who don't have that, and usually it is the women in the house. I had to say that because I feel like that was a big difference in this Ramadan for me, anyway. But yeah, I don't know if the males want to come in on that, or like or have a.
I mean, it sounds more than reasonable. But we have this thing at home that we can't leave for Taraweeh unless everything on the table is débarrassé, like everything has been taken off the table, and which always kind of our Ramadans and our iftars are very stressful at our house. Like we eat so fast, we put everything aside so fast, we put everything in the dishwasher, and then we breathe. Okay, shall we go to Taraweeh now? Okay, let's go. It's kind of like that. So somehow we were forced to help each other out in order to even go to Taraweeh. But yeah, I mean, that had to be said indeed. So heed, listeners.
I completely agree. Like it was a more, let's say, it was a more intense Ramadan experience than before. Like there was no rush. There was no like we need to go there. We were limited, and at some point the limitation led into some more beautiful Ramadan than before experienced, I guess. Even though the social part was missing, but the deeper social part with your family and so on was more intense. And I guess it's also like not just optimistically seen, but also like rationally seen, very positive effect.
Nurhan, your relationship with Allah this year. Big question, obviously. You don't have to answer.
I mean, it was so interesting. You guys have quoted Ramadan. It was definitely a special month. I got to experience different kinds of feelings because it was a month. But generally, the pandemic in general, but Ramadan was a month in which I reflected a lot on my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because regular Ramadans, you go to the mosque, you're busy with a lot of material stuff. I would like to use this word, and suddenly during 2020 Ramadan you get disattached from all of this stuff and you find yourself with your family and with Ramadan. So what you do is just like reflect, and you reflect on all the kind of stuff that they were mentioned before. Am I doing things right? How's my relationship with Allah? How's my prayer? And all of this kind of questions. And I would like to use this metaphor at the sad and a positive metaphor at the same time. It's like you're in a cave, okay? You have darkness all around you, but at the same time there are some small holes in which the light comes into the cave. And sometimes you're too much focused on the darkness, on the obscurity, and other times you see the light and you go there under the light, you feel it, you experience it, and your heart gets just like warmed and you feel that that's the truth. So it's just like sometimes it's that and sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's ups and sometimes it's down. But whenever you're up, you feel like amazing. You feel like that you're in the right path. And when you're down, when you're in the darkness, you feel that I'm missing the light. I want to be there again. So it's just like a cycle.
That was beautiful, that metaphor, mashallah. Thank you so much for that. And actually, I think that's a good place to end. I think that's like a soft spot in between all the craziness that we've talked about for us to end. Jazakallah khair, everyone. I think it's been like I've learned a lot from your perspectives. Even like, to be honest, I thought a lot of us would be talking about the same things, but we really have come from different points of views. And I think it shows that even though there's one crazy thing happening around the world, at the end of the day, it all depends on what we make of it and how we decide to control or adapt. So I just, yeah, Jazakallah khair, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
It was great to speak to you guys.
Yeah.
Wonderful to see you all.